everybody, I'm going to walk you through how to write a thesis. I call it my thesis 1, 2, 3, 4 because there's 4 main steps to this approach. You can actually find some information on this in the Little Seagull Handbook, which you all should have as your writing guide. It is an amazing text that has so much information on writing, on MLA, on APA, so make sure you have a copy of that. You'll need it for English 102 as well. All right, so step 1. State your topic as a question. Remember that a topic is not your thesis or a question. It's just something like gasoline prices, okay? Freedom, recycling. So here in step 1, I have given you an example of how I would take gasoline prices and turn it into a question. What causes fluctuations in gasoline prices? If my topic was freedom, what freedoms should all people have? If my topic was recycling, is recycling better for the environment? Step 2, turn your question into a position. Take a stand, make a claim, okay? So try answering your own question. So for my gasoline prices, remember I said what causes gasoline fluctuations? Gasoline prices fluctuate for several reasons. My example 2, which was freedom, is all people are entitled to certain freedoms. And my example 3, which was recycling is good for the environment. Okay, so you can see this little graphic here, so it shows you to build a strong argument, you kind of have to make some claims, you have to have reasons and evidence. So right here, I've just made a very basic claim for all 3 of these examples, but I haven't actually done a very solid, detailed reasoning yet. Okay? So you got it. Step 3 is to narrow your thesis. Be specific. Tell the audience exactly what you're going to write about. This is where we're going to actually come up with some reasoning. So example 1, gasoline. Gasoline prices fluctuate because of production procedures, consumer demand, international politics, and oil company policies. Remember that my guiding question for this is, why do they fluctuate? So my guiding question for example 2, which is freedom, is what freedom should people have? You could go in a different direction, like why are people entitled to certain freedoms, but this is the direction I chose to go for this example. So my statement is going to be, all people are entitled to the basic freedoms of speech, religion, education, and marriage equality. Okay, that's what I would be arguing for this paper. Example 3, if I was going to make an argument for recycling, I would say recycling is good for the environment because it means less waste is sent to landfill. It conserves natural resources. It increases economic security by tapping a domestic resource or source of materials and helps prevent pollution. So my guiding question was, why is recycling good for the environment? And remember, if we go back that we had those 3 topics and my position statement was recycling is good for the environment. So step 4, qualify your thesis. Words like may, very likely, or often can acknowledge that your assertion might not be unconditionally true and therefore make audiences more apt to believe you because you're not saying, oh, recycling is always good for the environment. Because believe it or not, there are some negative environmental impacts of recycling. The qualifiers. You'll see I put the qualifiers in red here. So I might change this to gasoline prices very likely fluctuate because of production procedures, consumer demand, international politics, and oil company procedures. You can see in example 2, I put as long as they don't infringe upon other people's freedoms. So I say that people should have basic freedoms, but they shouldn't infringe upon other people's freedoms. So that would disqualify things like hate speech. And then example 3, recycling may be better for the environment because it means less waste, etc. Okay, so adding qualifiers can be a great way to make that thesis more global to everybody and more acceptable for other audiences. All right, so I want you to practice with your own thesis. Right now, you might be working on your narrative, you might be working on a rhetorical analysis and argument, but I want you to take some time to walk through your thesis. Ask a question about the topic, turn that question into a position, narrow and specify the position, and then qualify it. The rest of the slideshow is a great exercise that you can try at home if you have peers. In class, I love to do this exercise, but since this is an online class, we won't have that opportunity. But what you could do is you could come up with a couple of peers, maybe your family, someone, or you could even reach out to, if you know anyone else in the class, you could reach out and see if they want to do this with you. But a good exercise is to do a mini workshop on your thesis. So just like we would workshop by exchanging papers and giving each other feedback, the same can be done. So after you get that practice time to work on your thesis, take it, write it on a blank piece of page, and then rotate, give it to the next person. And they can look at your thesis and ask you questions and give you suggestions for a better thesis. So then you basically spend 2 minutes and you just rotate in a circle. And again, you could just do this back and forth via Canvas messaging or via email. This is a great way to get a better thesis, a stronger thesis, or have your peers or your parents or someone in your family help you as well. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day and happy writing.